Ani, Bojo. Once an administrator or an executor have been appointed to settle the estate, the first step you're going to take is to notify services and organizations. The administrator or executor must notify all services and organizations that the deceased person dealt with and close the accounts. Some examples could be notifying the Social Assistance Office, contacting utility and services companies, such as phone, hydro, heating, water, and internet, contacting Canada Post, contacting insurance companies, banks and other financial institutions, employers, CRA, the band office, any maintenance contractors, and canceling any memberships or subscription services. Step 2 is to open an estate bank account. It is recommended that an administrator/executor open an estate bank account to manage all financial matters relating to the deceased person's estate. The estate bank account is used for these things. 1. To deposit money belonging to the person who died. For example, any money from the person's personal bank account, life insurance benefits, or other benefits. And 2, to make payments, for examples, paying the debts or the bills of the person who died. It's important to keep a record of all deposits and withdrawals in this account in case the heirs or beneficiaries or Indigenous Services Canada asks any questions. Step 3 is to identify and notify the heirs and the beneficiaries. If the person who died had a will, then the beneficiaries are named within the will. However, if the person who died didn't have a will, then the Indian Act decides who the heirs are. This could be spouse and common law, children and grandchildren, parents of the deceased, siblings of the deceased, and any other person that is next of kin within the family. Please note that beneficiaries and heirs both inherit from the will, but are called differently depending if the deceased had a will or not. Step 4 is to make an inventory of property and debts of the deceased. The administrator or executor are responsible for paying debts with any money from the estate before distributing inheritance to the heirs and beneficiaries. The administrator and executor are going to want to make a list of all of the property of the person who died and its value. This can include a house, land, vehicles, appliances, bank accounts, and any other personal items or assets. They'll also want to make a list of all of the debts of the person who died. To find out if the person who died owed any money to anybody else, the administrator or executor must post a notice within public places. This can include the band office, the post office, the community center or grocery stores, and any other public places where notices are usually posted. ISK has a form for the administrator or executor that they can use to prepare the notice. Anyone who wants to claim money from the estate has 8 weeks from the time the notice is posted to make a claim. Once a list of all debts and property has been collected, the administrator or executor must pay off debts using the money of the estate and keep all bills and receipts proving that the debts have been paid. They are also required to pay all taxes if applicable. As an administrator or executor, you will need to file the tax return of the person who died with the Canada Revenue Agency, pay taxes using the money within the estate, and ask for certificates confirming that all taxes have been paid. That is, a clearance certificate from Canada Revenue Agency. An accountant can help with this process. If there isn't enough money to pay all the debts, some of the deceased property might have to be sold. It's a good idea for the administrator or executor to see a lawyer or notary in this situation. Keep in mind The spouse of the person who died may have specific rights to the home and land on reserve, even if the will doesn't leave anything to the spouse. A common law partner who has been living with a person who died for at least a year has the same rights as a married spouse to land or home within a community on reserve. The spouse or partner has 10 months to file a claim in court. Administrators or executors must make sure to not distribute any property before the end of the 10 months unless they have written permission from the spouse or partner. Miigwech.